As a child, I was taught about how organic matter decomposes, likely similar to all of you. I was taught that farmers use manure in their fields, gardeners put eggshells in their gardens, and the water I use at home goes down a drain and vanishes, never to be seen again. I was not taught, however, that these practices only happen because they're in a controlled environment and cannot simply translate to the natural world. Many of Lake Tahoe's 5.7 million visitors in 2020 alone also had that lost in translation experience. Hi. My name is Lindsay Schultz, and today I will be discussing the 7 principles of Leave No Trace and their importance to the health of our natural world and your experience exploring it. So I'm the Outdoor Programs Director for the Tahoe Rim Trail Association, the primary stewards of Lake Tahoe's premier 200-mile trail system and home to the famous Tahoe Rim Trail, if you know it. As a wilderness professional for 9 years now, it is my responsibility to be a champion of outdoor spaces and educate on the importance of caring for our lands and promoting stewardship. I strongly align with the 7 principles of Leave No Trace, as I believe that when practiced, these principles can contribute to the lasting enjoyment of natural wild spaces for years to come, just like love. So whether you're a Tahoe resident, a visitor, or have never been, you likely know that Lake Tahoe is home to a magnificent, strikingly blue, hyper-clear lake. More and more scientific studies, however, are showing that our big blue lake is trending toward taking on a greener, more murky personality as we continue to love our natural spaces to death. They're predicting actually that we might lose our lake's clarity and deep blue hue by the end of this century even. So the 7 principles of Leave No Trace can actually help that. And they're easy to follow, and when practiced, they can keep you safe, the environment safe, and protect animals. So to understand how to leave no trace, we obviously need to learn to leave no trace, but I'm going to give a little history first. So the concept of Leave No Trace, and it's actually commonly known as its acronym LNT, began in the early 1970s after outdoor recreation, namely hiking and backpacking, saw its first boom in the 1960s. And unfortunately, those impacts to the natural landscape that accompanied that. The concept then experienced a rebirth in 1994 when NOLS, which is the National Outdoor Leadership School, took the reins of Leave No Trace awareness to the next level and formalized the 7 principles that we know today. So these principles are going to be accompanied with some hand gestures to help you remember. So number 1, plan ahead and prepare. Check. Number 2, travel and camp on durable surfaces. Number 3, dispose of waste properly. Number 4, leave what you find. Take only pictures. Number 5, minimize campfire impacts. Number 6, respect wildlife. And number 7, be considerate of others. Peace, man. Hey. So my next goal is to unravel the impacts of natural spaces, wildlife, and the user experience, resulting from either not knowing these principles or simply ignoring them. So let's start with some trash, some common household trash and how long they take to decompose in the wild. So paper, 2 to 5 months. Not too bad. Orange peels, 6 months. Leather shoes, 25 to 40 years. Tin cans, upward of 100 years. Glass bottles, 1 million years. Styrofoam, plastic bags, 500 years to forever, never. Disturbing wildlife can cause animals to change behavior, become humanized, and or become ill, and even die. A study of over 1,000 birds in North Carolina found that 55% had plastic in their guts. A 2000 study of bear foraging in Yosemite found that bears raised to naturally forage in the wild were 84% more likely to remain wild foragers, while bears that were taught to forage for human trash were 81% more likely to continue that behavior. So consequently, bear cubs who learned to forage for human food are 5.6 times more likely to die before reaching adulthood. So sad. So whether you know Leave No Trace or not, most people know to respect wildlife, right? However, being respectful to others is actually a lesser known LNT principle, but an especially important one. So imagine this. The sound of pine needles or leaves blowing in the wind, watching ripples on a pristine alpine lake on a warm summer day, sitting peacefully while staring in awe at a lively, perfect meadow. Now imagine the sound of a group of only 4 people, but they're blasting a Bluetooth speaker so loud that you can no longer hear the leaves. Imagine murky soap bubbles rising from those beautiful ripples, from biodegradable soap even being used in the water. Imagine that meadow now destroyed by mountain bikers riding off trail into precious life of the meadow, causing permanent ruts and streaks of damage. Now, I no longer get to experience the natural world in its most pure form because other visitors made those selfish decisions. Nothing against mountain bikers. Clearly, trashing the environment is harmful to birds and the bears, and we should respect one another, right? But can we really expect folks to take Leave No Trace serious? What if your life was at stake? There may be a better chance. So as I previously mentioned, that first principle, Leave No Trace, is to plan ahead and prepare. Check. Being prepared can save your life. 9 in 100,000 people die in the woods every year in the US. An additional thousands of people require search and rescue efforts to bring them back to safety. Start each adventure with reviewing the first principle, Leave No Trace, and you will become one step closer to not becoming a statistic. So, Leave No Trace is really easy, people. And studies show that just the knowledge and intent to practice these principles can positively influence behavior. So let's recap those principles again. Number 1, plan ahead and prepare. Check. Number 2, travel and camp on durable surfaces. Number 3, dispose of waste properly. Number 4, leave what you find. Take only pictures. Number 5, minimize campfire impacts. Number 6, respect wildlife. And number 7, my favorite, be considerate of others. Peace. Hey. So, for the sake of the birds, the bears, our communities, yourself, and our beautiful lake, Lake Tahoe, become a Leave No Trace ambassador, or better yet, become a Leave No Trace champion. There's a giant world out there to explore, and with just a little bit of effort on everyone's part, we can make sure that the wild stays wild, and we can keep ourselves and our natural spaces safe, just like we do with the things we love.